All right, second question from Laramie Hirsch. In your book, Star Spangled Crown, you said that sovereigns have often presided over radically different and even hostile ethnicities, religions, and cultures. Could you list some examples of this? And how do you propose that an American monarch would best handle the racial dilemma in the United States?
Well, of course, the easy answer is read the book, but I won't give an easy answer. Well, yeah, I mean, where do I begin? Alexander, the Persian Empire, Alexander's Empire, the Roman Empire, the Spanish Empire, the British Empire, the French Empire, the Holy Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. Every empire that has ever existed, with a few exceptions like the American Empire, and some smaller countries like Rwanda and Ethiopia. Well, Ethiopia was an empire too. Anyway, the reason being that they were monarchical and the monarch had to be above ethnicity, above race, to a degree above religion. And this will sound interesting because every monarchy is legitimized by a particular faith, not by several at once. And yet, nevertheless, they do have to maintain a connection, if they're people of other religions than their own. They do have to maintain some sort of connection with them. In Thailand, the king of Thailand is the head of the Buddhist community in Thailand, which is the largest load of people. But he also maintains a set of Hindu priests at the court in Bangkok who perform certain particular Brahmin rituals for the monarchy. And he's the protector of the Christians. That's his particular title. Now, obviously, if, as was the case with Christianity vis-a-vis the Roman Empire, if the monarch feels that there's a irreconcilable difference between himself and a member of a faith, the members of that faith are going to feel it, the way we did.
Yeah.
But at any rate, generally speaking, there are so many examples of monarchs who have presided over this kind of diversity that the real question is who are the ones who didn't, which is a harder one to answer. You'll find very, very few, or even today, Belgium, for instance. I mean, the Flames and Walloons really dislike one another, even though they've got the same faith. But the monarchy and the church were the two great bonds of union in Belgium. And it's interesting that the country has begun to fragment as the faith has become far less prevalent among them and as the monarchy has lost its influence over the workings of power. So that's that element of the question. How an American monarch would deal with it, presumably if such a person existed, the way any other monarch stuck with that kind of a setup would. He'd have to somehow be father of all the different races and peoples within the country, but on a very particular level. So in other words, where he might be, say I'm a citizen of California, and he's my king because he's the king of California. To the Indian reservation down the road, well, he is the supreme chief of all the tribes. And for the blacks, he might play some other role. That's why one of the interesting things about monarchies is the number of titles monarchs generally have. They're very often, they go on and on and on and on because they're not just the king or the emperor. They're different other things. They have a relationship with their different subjects according to those other offices. So that the thing is that the king would have to be, as it were, above the race issue.
How can he not play favorites? I mean, if you have people on two sides of an issue, you have to pick one side, don't you?
Not necessarily. I mean, you're presuming that somebody has to win. Somebody doesn't have to win.
Okay, well, how about pro-life versus pro-choice?
That's a different thing. That's not ethnicity. No. I mean, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to explore. It's the difference is this. Let's say you've got a father of a family, Now, you wouldn't know this because you've got two brothers and a sister, so
Mm-hmm.
you have no experience. But pretend for a second that you've got a father with his family, and pretend that the siblings have very different personalities, very different interests, and very often have a lot of friction with each other. I know it's hard to believe, but
Yeah.
pretend that there was a family like that.
Okay.
There really is never any victory in this. The father always has to maintain his place. And the kids will always be doing the same stuff. When they're little boo-boo-woos to the big Thanksgiving dinner, when they're bringing all their children from all over the country to settle down with Dad, they do the same stuff, they fall into the same bloody roles. The father is stuck having to try to figure out, does he play favorites? Maybe, especially if one's stupider than another, or nastier. Yeah, he may play favorites in that sense, but it's not something that can be won.
I see.
The family is just the family as it is. And until all the members are dead, in which case it changes. The dynamic gets very different. But with a basic ideological question, that's totally different. And that becomes whether or not there's going to be a family at all. You couldn't have a family where, as I've described, you've got the difficult, problematic family, but they all accept that Dad's dad. And at the end of the day, he's going to lay down the law. And they may wheedle, they may try to get their way this way or that way, they may want this or that. All kinds of things may go on. They may lie to him, they may try to conceal things from him, they may rat each other out. All kinds of things can happen. But at the end of the day, there's certain basic rules. They're all stuck playing with them, whether they like them or not. Dad's dad. And Dad has his own personality issues.
Yeah.
He might be a drunk. He might be quick to punish and slow to question, or vice versa. They might be too indulgent. Anything might happen. But that's a particular structure. But if one of the kids says, I no longer recognize my sister as a member of this family, she's not real, that's a different problem. And what the abortion issue is really about is who's human and who isn't.
That's true.
Who's a member of the family and who isn't. The pro-abortion people are saying that the preborn are not members of the family.
Wow.
They're not real. They're not people. The sister of mine, she's not my sister. She's not real. She has no right to be here. And you, Dad, are wrong for calling her your daughter because she doesn't even exist. That's a whole other story. That's a whole other framework.
Wow.
And that's the difference between the two. A proper monarch would have the obligation to try to defend the unborn because they're subjects too.
Yeah.
Same as the elderly. Same as the productive, same as the unproductive.